Hello, this is a brief video demonstrating the installation of the new Timeless Design Millennium Collection click engineered vinyl plank. The instructions included in each box are very informative. They'll tell you the tools you need as well as the subfloor preparation and general instruction guidelines on putting the floor down. One thing I will notice is that the diagrams at the bottom of each page show the installation starting in the room going from left to right. That does work, but I have found it easier to work this particular product because of the locking system working from right to left, and I'll demonstrate that here in a few minutes. Starting in the right hand corner of the room and getting your plank, you want to work with the tongue side going against the wall and the flange out into the field area. So I'm going to start with laying the first plank down. I'm going to start with a couple inches away from the wall, bringing the next plank in, lining up the edges, and this particular product just basically drops into place. Now, it's a drop and lock system on the ends, but the long side is an angle down and lock. Once you have lined the ends up, you take a rubber mallet. Do not use a hammer or any other tool other than a rubber mallet, and tap, just like that, the end joints down, and you can feel a smooth transition from board to board. As you proceed across the room, you will come to the last piece. You want to use whatever part you cut off of the last row as your starter on row 2, as I've done here. Now at this point I'm going to use my spacers. So I'm going to slide the first row into place using spacers on the outside of the wall, on the ends, and at the seams as well. Okay. As I start the second row, you want to take another spacer and use it on the ends here. As I mentioned, the long side is an angle down and lock method. You simply place the long end in the groove, work it a few shakes, and it's down. Put your spacer at the end of the board. Keeps your gap around the perimeter of the room. All the instructions for the perimeter of the room installations are on the instructions themselves. The second piece, a little trickier. What we intend you to do is line up the long side into the groove, as I've just done there, butting the square edge end joints up next to each other. Work the plank down, making sure you have a tight seam all the way down the edge here. This lines up nice and tight, push it into place, then take the rubber mallet, a few taps, feel the edge, make sure it's locked and there are no gaps. At that point you can proceed for the rest of the row down to the end of the wall. Again, the instructions detail in very good detail the spacing you need between each end joint. In this case here I have a good 24 inches. They recommend a minimum of 16 inches. So use that as your barometer for those measurements, and you can avoid that ugly tight stagger in that case. This way you have a nice spacing between end joints. Most importantly, if there is a reason you need to separate boards, you do not want to lift and pull the boards apart. The proper way to disengage any of these drop and lock products is this way. Lift the entire row, or what you have installed. It's usually going to require lifting 2 or 3 pieces. Lift it, separate it from the rest of the field, and then do not try to lift either end up. You want to slide the boards apart, as I'm going to show you here, and that's the only way to separate these planks. If you do try to lift it up, you're going to damage the end joints, and you'll have a separation failure guaranteed. No reason to use knocking blocks or anything like that for this particular product, as it is a drop and lock product. Again, I stress, read the instructions, follow the diagrams as they're shown. I recommend working right to left. You should have a successful installation. Good luck with your new floor.